So I was looking at a property before we got here and I was unable to see it because of the times with the showings. So actually my brother went and checked it out on Saturday, and we put it in an offer over the weekend and we ended up getting accepted. So I have not seen this house yet, and we were able to, you know, get it under contract while we're here for a full week. So as soon as we get back on Monday, we're gonna have, actually it's gonna be Tuesday, we're gonna have the inspection. We're gonna actually check it out, see what's going on, see if we need to renegotiate anything or whatever, and then we'll move forward from there.
That's right, I got my second property. So I've been looking for about 6 months for my next property. So as most of you probably know, I bought a 3-unit about 2 years ago. I live in one, it's a 1-bedroom, and then we rent out the other ones. They cover all my expenses. And then we wanted to do it again. So we did that with a 3.5% down loan. And then the next one is gonna be a 5% loan. A lot of people think that you need at least 20% down, but you really don't need all that much money. Like for instance, when I bought this property, I brought $6,500 to closing. That's all it was. And it was about $200,000 is what I paid for this one. And then the next one's gonna be a little bit more, but it's still not all that much money. If you're saving, you know, 50% of your income, if you're living frugally, if you're trying to earn extra money, this can be easily within a year. You can save up enough money in order to get your first property, and that will completely change your life. We've looked at a lot of properties and put in a lot of offers, and that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Here's another one right here. We walked through this one quite a few times with contractors. This one had like 8 bedrooms. It's kind of like it's a 1-unit, but they made another unit on the top floor. So we were gonna live in that, rent out the other 5 or 6 bedrooms or whatever it was, but it needed like 100 grand in rehab. So we were gonna use a 2 or 3K loan and wrap all that into the loan so we could pay 3.5% down for this property and have all that rehab included in the loan. But unfortunately it just went for more than we were willing to pay, so we ended up having to let this one go. We also put in an offer on this one here. We ended up getting outbid again, but it was a 2-unit and we were gonna clear out the bottom basement and add a 3rd unit to it, but didn't end up working out. There's one that we looked at, it was a duplex. It was really nice, so we were gonna put in an offer, and they had so many showings that first time that they allowed showings that they raised the price $60,000. And then it still sold in a few days. That was just a few of them. We put in a lot of offers. We looked at a lot of places, and we ended up missing out on almost all of them because of the market being so high right now. Like for instance, I paid $200,000 for this property, and if I put in about $5,000 worth of work and kicked out the other 2 tenants, it would probably go for around $300,000. So it'd be make $100,000 in 2 years is how much the market has gone up, especially around where I am right now. So when I look for a property, I try to find a way to add value, because most of the times, especially when it's on the MLS and you're going through, you know, a realtor, it's not gonna be a great deal right off their bat. You're gonna need to change something in order to make it cash flow really well. So like the big one we talked about, we were gonna run an Airbnb or rent out each individual room by the room in order to up the rents to about double what it would be if we, you know, rented it as just its own unit. And then the other one, we're gonna add another unit to it, which would add a ton of value, but we ended up getting outbid on that one as well. If you're looking to do this yourself, first of all, you can message me on Instagram, ask any questions that you have. Happy to help you out any way that I can. But second of all, you want to find a good realtor, have them set you up on alerts, have them get you in touch with a good lender. Now, it's very important that you find a realtor that has real estate experience. For this one, I've been my own realtor, so that kind of has helped me out a lot. But it's very important to find a good realtor who knows what they're doing so they can help you run the numbers, they can help you find these properties. I've had listing alerts coming in every day for the past at least like 3 years. And once you learn how to run the numbers, it takes about 5 seconds in order to run the numbers, where you can look at the size of the place, you can look at the price, and you just instantly know if it's worth looking a little bit deeper into the numbers. So the way I structured this deal, I saved myself $10,000 in cash and instead put that onto the loan. So I'm okay with spending a little bit more because I'm never gonna actually pay for the down payments the way I'm doing this, because my tenants will always cover the mortgage, taxes, and insurance. So it almost doesn't matter how much I pay for the house as long as the cash flow really works out, because with the way I was buying this, I know that I'm not going to be able to build a lot of equity in this particular property. I'll definitely do that another time where, you know, I'll buy something cheap, add some value, and then refinance, pull my money out. But for right now, that's not what I was looking to do with this property. But anyways, when I put in my offer, I paid $350,000 for this property, and I asked for, I think it was like $7,000 back towards closing. So that would save me, you know, $7,000 cash, that instead of me bringing it to closing, we're just paying $7,000 more for the home total, and that goes as part of the mortgage. So it really equals out to paying, you know, $343 or whatever it was. So then after we had the inspections and I was actually finally able to see the property, I asked for another, I think it was like $3,500 back on top of that, because the max you can ask for back with the type of loan that I had was like $10,500, something around that. So that's exactly what I asked for. So I saved $10,000 that I would have had to bring to closing, and instead they're gonna end up paying that. So that'll save me a lot of money that I can use to invest into the property to make it nicer, to raise the rents, or just save it towards my next property. So I did this with the house that I'm in now. Like the previous house hack that I did, my brother did that with his house hack. Almost everybody I know who does a house hack kind of structures it this way, because you can save yourself, you know, anywhere from a few thousand to 10, 15,000, depending on how much the home is that you're buying. You can save that cash and just put that on the loan, and you never actually have to pay for that money. So that's just a little trick if you don't have that much money that you want to put into it. So we're gonna live in one of the 4-bedroom units, then we're gonna rent out the other 4-bedroom unit and the 2-unit. So each 4-bedroom unit is worth in our market about $1,500, depending on how nice you make it. And the 2-bedroom, because it's pretty small, is worth around $1,000. We can probably get a little more down the road once we move on with that person. But that's pretty much what we're gonna do. We're gonna live in one, rent out the other 2. And if we just rent it that way, then we're going to be making about $2,500 a month from those 2 units. And our total expenses, mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance, all that type of stuff, is gonna be about $2,400. So we should be making $100 a month while we live in a 4-bedroom place. That is not bad. Right now we have a 1-bedroom place. You guys have probably seen most of my apartment, but this is my studio. This is what I have to work with right here. It's very small. So I am looking forward to being able to have more room so that I don't have to move the couch all over the place. I've had it on this wall, and on that wall, just to try to make it look not the exact same every single time I shoot a video, because that would get really boring really quick if, you know, like 90% of my stuff is shot in this one room. So I'm looking forward to, you know, having a little bit more room, and that'll be really exciting actually. So another thing that we might do is turn this into an Airbnb, turn one of the units into an Airbnb. Now that's gonna be a little bit more work because you have to manage it, you have to clean stuff unless you hire somebody to do that. But it should also about double how much we're gonna make on a 4-bedroom unit. So this is just another option for people. This is what my brother did a little bit, and some other people do this, where if you need to make a little bit more money while you're living there, you can rent out a couple bedrooms, or you can Airbnb out a unit while you live right next door, so it's pretty easy to take care of. And like I said, a lot of times you can almost double how much you're gonna make from your property, because even though we're not in like a touristy place and the rents are not high at all for Airbnb anyways, it'll still make double what we're gonna make. And if we were living, you know, like a couple blocks closer to like the main strip in our town, it would almost double from where we're at now. Right now the rooms would rent for $35 to $40 per night, and if you're closer to like the main strip, it's like $70 a night. So depending on where your property is, if you have, you know, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, it might work out a lot better to Airbnb those out, and then you could just make a lot more money that way. So if we did do that, we'd have about $3,000 a month in expenses for the mortgage plus like the utilities on that unit, but we'd be making about $4,000 at least from those 2 units, the Airbnb and then the other one. So we should be able to make at least $1,000 a month while living in a 4-bedroom unit. Again, not bad. So our strategy is pretty much to be moving every few years. You get one property, you live in it for a few years, because when you use these types of loans, you have to live there for at least 1 year, and then you can get another one, do the same thing, and another one, do the same thing. Just keep going down the line and just continuing to move. You just need to upgrade your living situation. So we're moving from a 1-bedroom triplex to a 4-bedroom triplex, and then we'll move, you know, like to a 2-bedroom duplex, and then to a 4-bedroom duplex, and then to a single family home, and maybe it has an in-law apartment or something like that. So you can continually move down the line until you get to that single family dream home, and that can be totally covered by these things. And a lot of times, like, people who are making the amount of money that I am making, and, you know, like in our situation, or in their mid-20s, are renting an apartment pretty similar to what we're living in, we just own the entire building. So it's pretty much, it doesn't take any more work really. I put in like a couple hours worth of work into this building, managing it in the past like year. So it doesn't really take all that much work for all the people who are really concerned about not knowing how to manage properties. You can figure that out pretty easily. I have no idea how to do anything. You just kind of wing it and figure it out. And you know, read a couple books and it's not that hard. So anyways, we're gonna be making about a 60% ROI on this property, because once we move out of it, it's going to start cash flowing about $18,000 a year. We're gonna spend about $30,000, and you know, that's gonna be for the down payment, the inspections, about $10,000 for a rehab in order to up all the rents and make it a nicer place. So that's pretty much what we're gonna get. And if we're making $18,000 a year off a $30,000 investment, that's like insane. That's completely insane. And that's how you can make this much money, by doing, you know, a 3% down or a 5% down loan. And then all that money that you're putting into it, it doesn't have to be that much. Like we paid $15,000 is what I actually paid in my own money for this property. And it's gonna cash flow about $12,000 a year once I move out of it into the next one. So that's like an almost 80% ROI. So like, it's just, you can make a huge ROI when you're willing to live in these things, to buy them, to fix them up a little bit. And sometimes, like if you're adding value and you can pull your money back out afterwards by refinancing, you can make infinity ROI. You get all your money back like after a year or two, and then it's just, you own a property. So that's just why I recommend house hacking to pretty much everybody that I know, just because you're making minimum of like 50-60% up to infinity percent when you're doing it with 3.5% down. You have the right property, you know how to run your numbers and all that type of stuff. If you guys are thinking of house hacking or you have any questions, definitely hit me up. I would love to help you out. Instagram is down below, or comment or whatever. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that type of stuff. I don't know why, but in this video, I thought it would be really fun to try to film on all of these shelf things. So that's what the camera was on, like almost every single shot, just because it, you know,